Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sanjita Farhana Zaweed, and today we are going to talk about the countries improve their labor and environment standards with globalization. In introduction part, I would like to talk about the countries improve their labor and environmental standards with globalization by the help of technological system. Globalization is the process by which any business develops international influences. With the help of globalization, the biggest benefit is exports and import. Export and import are the way of building up relationship among the countries in which they are developing environmental standards. Trading is the process that increases business development through international influences. The laborers are required to have special skills and working ability with knowledge so that they can work hard to make something in a developed, good quality way. The smart laborers are those who work with a minimum wage rate because through this later on they have the experience of the skills and they can learn more better to understand the work. Many countries hire labor from outside, which is called a kind of international influences for their own benefit to develop their business. With the help of communication, they developed contacts to the environment, which is relating to impact on human activities, on the conditions, and to the nature world, and to the natural world. Yeah, to the natural world. So this was my introduction part, and now I would like to call my next fellow member, Mr. Nishat Chaudhary, to come and continue the next session. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Master Chaudhary from BBA department. Thank you so much, Sanjita, for giving me the opportunity. So today, we will talk about countries improve their levels and environmental standards with globalization. So my topic is Malaysia, and now I want to talk about Malaysia. Malaysia, one of the most labor import country, and they have a lot of opportunity for foreign labors. Malaysia Worldwide Exchange Global Movement and the exercise of a worldwide organization on working conditions and work rights and ecological conditions in Malaysia. And Malaysia also extends worldwide exchange illegal work movement and global organization impact work condition. Malaysia government is available to worldwide exchange have unfamiliar work condition. In addition, unfamiliar direct ventures mostly stem on nations with prevalent work conditions and wages. What's more, work conditions in worldwide organizations are better than business conditions in country firms. So we as a whole realization that Malaysia is created and there is a three-side work framework for foreign workers, the horticulture, fisheries, ranger service, and construction workers. And Malaysia utilize around 10% of the Malaysian labor force, and they have a lot of opportunity to work there. And their 10% of GDP come from the labor forces. Most workers were available in Malaysia from 23 nations. Most Malaysians work from Bangladesh, Pakistan, India, Sri Lanka. Because of most of the country experience work from the Latin nation, yet the fundamental advantage for Malaysia is unfold work development so they can easiest them for low options and low cost. In any case, the works have no decision to do and anything on account of from Latin countries. Many times we saw illegal works by the dust in the news since the absence of Malaysian law. As globalization increases, numbers issue in this area. That's all my part. Thank you so much, everyone. And my next colleague probably will continue this presentation. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I am Istia Hawk, and the part of my presentation is whether it is indeed true that countries improve their labor and environmental standards with globalization, and I'll be covering with the perspective of Dubai. So first up, I'll be looking at the labor standard, and then I'll be looking at the environmental standards. So let's begin with the labor standards. As we all know that Dubai is a very highly developed country, so in order to keep that highly developed status, it is going to need a lot of infrastructure, and in order to construct those infrastructures, it is going to need a lot of labor forces. So these labor forces mainly comes from Asian countries, specifically Bangladesh, Pakistan, and India. So Dubai can afford these labors, these Asian labors, is because they're quite satisfied with the low payment and they don't ask for high living standards. This is because if we think about the exchange rate, Dubai's exchange rate is quite higher than other countries. So the laborers are more being attracted towards Dubai. But if we think about globalization, then we can generalize this by saying that as Dubai's globalization is being increased, the labor standard is being decreased. So it has a negative effect. And now I'll be talking about the environmental standards. So as I mentioned earlier that Dubai is a highly developed country, so it is being rapidly urbanized, not because of its population, but it has a huge amount of tourist visitors and so on. So because it has too many tourists or visitors, its resources are being decreased pretty fast. This is because the resources are being used up by industries to keep those luxurious way of life. And these industries are not maintaining a proper sewage system. I mean, not maintaining a proper waste management system, which is very much harmful for the environment. So to summarize this, I would say that in general, if globalization increases, then Dubai's labor standards and environmental standards will decrease. So that's all from me, and I would like to call my next group member. Thank you.
Now I'm going to talking about Germany's disadvantage globalization on environment. Global warming, water populate, air populate, deforestation. Germany has the most beautiful ecology and landscape. The greenish environment gets populated because of globalization. As many people are coming to Germany for living the ecosystem. The ecosystem destroyed due to industrialization. The coal mining is the negative effect of air population, which was the highest 2012 and 2013 since 1980s. The water level have increased as a result, the death of animals are increasing day by day. Now moving on, another slides. Employment situation in Germany, uncertain work, low paying position, fixed term contracts. The employment situation are changing in the era of globalization. More people are focused on established countries so they can better career, but many companies hire people for limited time. Uncertain work, low paying position, fixed term contracts, um, part-time employment are all of our factors are considered, but the present situation of work is negative of globalization in Germany because of irregular employee risks of poverty is increased. That's end of my part. Now my group member will be continuing. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. This is Rayana Nabi Nikita. I am presenting the conclusion part of our presentation. We were asked to look at a minimum of 2 countries in our analysis, and we chose to look at 3 countries, and the countries are Malaysia, UAE, and Germany. After working on the question and after extensive research, we have learned that due to globalization, job opportunities open up to citizens all around the world, but can also affect the environmental aspects. And in some countries, due to globalization, the labor and environmental standards have improved. Although when looking at the far end of the spectrum, we have covered that some countries have developed as well as decreased their labor standards. Upon research on the specific countries we have talked about, we can agree on the fact that globalization creates a lot of job opportunities, but in some cases, the laborers are at risk due to their working conditions, which aren't that good. And because of globalization, more countries are developing their cities, which attract tourists, and this actually helps the countries financially and to increase their GDP as well. due to the demands of industrialization. As a result of globalization, the levels of pollution increases, and this is a prolonged negative effect. The question itself is actually debatable when looking at one specific country, and what that essentially says is that globalization has improved in some countries, but we think it has but some will think that it has not improved because of the risks that are involved. It is actually an idea of perception, and in terms of its profit, it's an advantage, but in terms of environment, there is a negative effect. So where we draw the line, and where we as individuals draw the line, it actually comes down to our way of thinking as individuals. And for the most part, we can agree that globalization today has influenced labor and environmental standards. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, please do let us know. Thank you.